hello. Okay, so what's new this month? Somebody asked me to do a palette knife. So I am going to attempt to do a palette knife. Now this one's from a dollar store. This is the one that I'm going to use. And hopefully that works out. We're going to be doing some fruit today. So what you need for this one, you can either use that modeling paste that I showed you in the last one. That I did, so that you can add to your acrylic. So if you have thinner paint, you can put on a big blob of that molding paste. Should go get that for you in case somebody missed that one. Modeling paste, molding paste, I don't know, whatever one I call it, either or. And then I thought I lost it. Okay, I didn't lose it. So this is it. It's Artist Loft. Can you read that? Modeling paste. It's really thick, like toothpaste. I think it's about $5. I don't know. So we're going to use this one. You can put that stuff squished on, and then when you're doing your paint, you just mix your color in with it. It might look a little bit lighter than you want, like the shade that you want. Don't worry about that. Once it dries, it starts going back. Now, I'm going to make a whole bunch of different colors of yellow because I want a deeper yellow. This I got at Walmart. It's pretty big, cheap, but look at my regular yellow. This is just a shade deeper. We can get that with orange too. I mean, with some red, make it a little bit orange. Add some white, it's going to be a little bit lighter. But to start off with, we are going to messily paint the back of ours a gray color. Not too dark, sort of a medium. I'm going to turn you off me for now. And then we're going to dry it. And I didn't have my blow dryer here. Don't paint it too thick, guys. Don't paint it too thick. So just some black and white. Like, don't take all of your white because we want some of that pure white. So don't go right in the center. Go to the side. A little bit of light. You just want it to pop a little bit. So if you put your plate up to it, like right now, my plate is the same color. Once you start putting this on, now look, you can see it pops a little bit. So it doesn't have to be super dark. Just make enough of it to cover your canvas. And it's going to leave it messy. It just doesn't matter because this is going to be a messy, choppy painting anyway because we're using the palette knife. So it's going to be thick and it's going to dry thick and it's going to look so artsy-fartsy, abstract, but you'll still be able to see the picture of what it is. Doesn't matter what this looks like. Even if some of this gray, I'm not going to dry this because if some of this gray blends in, put my canvas back, it's taking too long. Even if my yellows start blending into this a little bit, that's kind of what palette knife is. It's the whole funk of it all. It's all the blendy, messy bits. So I just keep grabbing. Every time I go in, I'm getting a new color, and that's fine. Messy, guys. It's intended to be messy painting, so I'm just taking black from there and white from there, mushing it up as I go. Maybe it's a little darker down at the bottom because those lemons will be sitting on a table. That's fine. So, what's new? What's new is palette knife. I've done a few different paint nights with palette knife, and it's always fun. The favorite by everybody is always the poppies, the palette knife poppies. And I only ever do those in November because Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day. Oh boy, this is taking a while. Good thing I'm not drying it. There we go. It's all covered up. Stinking messy, and I don't care. We could add more. We'll probably add more later, just so that the whole picture is going to look super messy. So I'm going to draw out some shapes with my round brush. And you may or may not be able to see this. It's pretty bright here. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to just take some yellow and I'm just going to draw out some shapes. So I want to start off with a lemon sitting sort of sideways. See how transparent yellow is? Oh, I can't stand that. And it's going to come around like that. It doesn't matter how perfect this is because we're totally going to mess this up. Right? So we can even go a little wider with this one. So there's one lemon, just a slice. Then we're going to kind of go over here and do around sort of a sideways kind of an oval. It's not perfectly round, but then it'll look like the lemon is looking that way. So there's more roundness. There'll be more peel roundness from here. So we're going to go, I want to go past here. Yes, okay. I want to go past here. So I'm going to make this bigger. Doesn't matter. That's what I mean about a painting. Always changing. Make that bigger. And then this is going to come down around here. So there's that. And then come like that. So you can kind of see where that lemon is. And this is going to be the inside part of it. It'll make sense in a bit. Now leave a little space right there. And then let's make this. Now, again, if you don't want to make it a lemon, you want to make it a grapefruit, you can just make it a grapefruit, so it doesn't matter. But right now we're just getting the shape. So I'm going to have one kind of, let's make it a little bit point there. You know how they're kind of a little bit pointy? Yeah, like that. Kind of a little bit pointy here. I don't think both ends are pointy. I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. All right, so there's our shapes. Now that's it. That's all we're going to do with the brush. So we are going to go in, where's the palette knife? So let's work on the peel of this one. So I'm going to take the palette knife. I'm going to grab a chunk of that yellow. Boy, it's really bright there. And I'm going to just go around with it here. Maybe you just want to do the tip. Maybe you just want to like draw in with the tip. You're basically laying it on, kind of scraping it around. You got that shape? I mean, we could have done them one at a time, but I wanted to see what they laid. Where exactly they laid down on here. And then just take the side. So this side here, and then you can slowly just kind of smooth that out a little bit. We're going to add another color. Maybe use that side. See, we're just using that edge over there. So you can see here the way that the peel went, right? So that's the peel. See how it's scraped right in there? That's the peel. This one down here, it's just going to have like a little peel, a little bit of a peel. So maybe we'll just use the tip this time. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to take the tip part of this and we're just going to do like the edge. sometimes you have to move your canvas, so it's just easier to do. So I'm going to go around this edge just using that tip. See, I've got too much paint on here. I don't want to have a whole bunch, but just on the tip part of it, like here. Grab like a blob of paint, and then you're just going to kind of go around the edge, just sort of pressing it into place. Don't worry about that you're drawing it too fat. Keep your paper towel handy. If you've got too much paint on there and you're dragging from what was down there, then just wipe it off just so that you just have the tip covered with paint. And then you won't have to worry about it smearing everywhere. And I'm taking that whole side again. I'm just going to smooth this just slightly as I go around. Maybe the other side, go up. Whatever's more comfortable for your arms. Wipe it off if you've got paint all over, and then you can start again. So you don't get it all over the place. There. Perfect. And this one is practically all yellow. So I'm just going to take and just, here's the fun where you can mess around with it a little bit more, because you don't have to worry about waiting for or covering over that inside bit. We're using a lot of paint for this one. There's that pokey little tip. Now my shoulder hurts from being up that high. Don't forget to turn your painting around. You don't want to mix black with this color ever to deepen it up. Black will just be a horrible color. Maybe a brown, I don't know. Something that you don't experiment right on the canvas. You kind of play with it. You kind of play with it on paper first and see what happens, because you don't want to just like throw that on there and go, oh, that's not right. So basically I'm laying the paint on my shapes, and then I will worry about giving it some funky lines. So now I've got it on there, I can sort of smooth it out a little bit. This will definitely take a full day. Most palette knife paintings are done with oil paints, and we're using acrylic, so it's not working quite the same as you might get from an oil painting class. But you know, I'm learning to adjust and make some changes so that we can have fun with this one. Right now I'm going to use a little bit of lighter yellow. I'm going to take some white. I'm going to move it over. Let's grab some. So I'm grabbing a big blob of white. I'm going to put it over beside the yellow. And I'm going to mix it up so I get a nice light yellow. Mixing it right up. I'm using that other shade of yellow. And I'm sort of messing it up in here, but it's kind of marbly. So it's not like, it's not going to be one smooth light yellow color. We're going to get mixtures. When I'm painting with brushes, I always say messy on the plate, messy on the brush. messy on the canvas. And that's kind of what I'm going for here. Scrape that off. I'm going to wipe off my palette knife. I wonder if I should use another palette knife. If I knew where they were. This is the only one I have right now. You could use a butter knife if you could do the handle. So with these ones here, I'm going to start with this one. They come a little bit wider and then they come up. Say this is the center. Let's wipe that brush off and just take a little bit of white. So right here is going to be sort of your, your center. So tap around in here. It doesn't have to be perfect, even if it's kind of looking star-shaped. That's okay. I added a little bit too much there, but to me it doesn't matter. And then we're going to take, see, there's going to be some white that's going to be placed in here, just always using the tip, just kind of pushing it on here with the tip. I love how messy this is. So it's going to have this edge that goes along here. Just grabbing a little bit at a time. So I have a little blob on there. Go in sideways past here. This would be like if you're kids and you didn't have a paintbrush and you're trying to paint with a stick. It's kind of how it's feeling right now. I'm painting with a stick. Sure hope you guys can see the color good. Good color well. It's okay if a little bit of yellow mixes in with this. Just going to smooth this out or mess it up slightly. Pushing it down, pushing it up around on the sides. Just trying to smooth it out a bit, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually way more cool if it is just a little messy. Kind of like that peel just sort of bleeds. I'm getting a little bit of yellows moving into my rind on the outside. See how messy that is? Thick and messy. That yellow that's in there is just a little bit too light. So we're going to make it round like that, and it should be going up to here. And the one thing about palette knife, if you mess it up, like the direction, just push it around until you've got the right direction, because everything should be coming off this like a pie shape. So you could even just, I'm adding a little bit more yellow. We only want basically that much. Look at how it works. If you just take it like that, because it's the right shape, push it on. Woohoo! And then I could just fill it in with the tip again. Oh my gosh, this is looking good. Different shades of yellow in through there. So I've got some light and some dark in there. I don't know if you guys are getting a reflection. See the lights and the darks that are in there? I'm actually going to add some more darkness to this one. It's too light. So you just grab some darker color and just slap it on top. Not all over the place. Let some light show through. And maybe that one's just supposed to be a little wider. Yeah, make it a little wider. And then just lightly smooth it over like you're trying to smooth over some icing. But I don't want it to be smooth. It's so not smooth. Is that a better light? I can't see what you guys are seeing. To me, it looks light all the way around. It looks light. Maybe I'll raise up. I'm going to raise up my easel here. Straighten you up a little bit, but not enough that it falls over. How's that? Okay. I'm going to apologize in advance in case it's not. You better have lots of paper towel on hand. Mine is getting full. Oh, sorry. I'll grab some more. I just happen to have a whack of it. All right. Okay, I've got a new one in my hand, and here we go. So let's fill this thing up some more. Who knows? I've got a mixture of colors on here, so I'm going to go in this way again. Start filling that in. I'm just really scraping it with that, the tip part of this. So it's scraping the paint right out. And then I am lightly smoothing it over a little bit, but still leaving it messy, because I'm liking the messy. I have to do this one with a group of ladies up in the Kootenays, so this is great practice. Let's see what I need to do to make this happen a little easier. Thankfully, it's a really small group of ladies. And you know what I'm liking too is the lines that are coming down. If you can see this, was an accident, but because the paint's so thick, the lines are coming down in here. So you can just like scratch in some lines, and then it's going to look like, what do you call that? The pulp. And I've got some of the original gray showing through the bottom still. Oh yeah, scratch it through in that up and down motion. And that just automatically gives you the pulpy look. It's the first time I've done this one, so I'm experimenting with you guys too, and I'm having a lot of fun. Just having a lot of fun with this paint. And then we're going to go for this one straight across, because this is top of that lemon. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Fun, fantastic. Just fill in that little section. Oh, love it. Love it. Now I have to turn my hand this way. I can't do it this angle. Either you're going to turn your canvas so you are comfortable. You can do it this way. Because it's thick paint, it's not going to run down, thank goodness. And especially if you're using the modeling paste, because that stuff doesn't run. That's thick. Look at that. Oh, love this. And right up, and it's a lighter shade. It's a lighter shade, and it's going to go straight across, but now it's in front of that other half lemon. That is fantastic. You guys, in real life, I don't know if you guys can see, but look at, oh my gosh, I love all the weird lines that I've created. It's going to dry like that. Look at it from the side. Hang on, from the side. Can you see how thick that is? I just love it. Just love it. So you can mess around later with other colors. I'm going to waste paint, so I'm going to scrape it off there, dry this off, and I can go back to this lemon rind on the outside now, and I can make that a little more smooth, a little thicker. I'm still just using the tip of this palette knife, this particular palette knife. Oops, I'm going to scrape it right off. Oh, this is so fun. Well, that lemon there's probably going to need some highlights. And this one is definitely going to need a little white part in the center. But it's not going to be straight into the center because it's kind of on an angle looking out forward. So we have to figure out where center is on that one. So let's go all the way around this with white so that we can figure out where the center's going to be. So just put it on the tip, sort of tap in, go around the edges and make your circle. It's okay if you're like going over the yellow a little bit. Just tapping it in. I love that it's messy. I love that it's messy. Because as long as you're getting your shapes right, you can't mess it up. My canvas. So up on this part here, you're not even going to see the yellow. You do down here. It'll sort of graduate down to there, and it'll graduate down here. But all around this, what's going to be the top, you won't see any yellow because of the way that it's sitting. Around here. Hi. I'm so happy that somebody suggested this. Terry suggested palette knife. But my ladies in the Kootenai suggested this painting in particular, so. I love that. All right, so here's another thing we can do too. We can make the segments with white or with darker. So you're going to take the edge of your palette knife. So tap your edge in so that you have paint on the edge. And you can go into your segments so you know where they are. And just tap some paint on there. Wipe your brush off because you don't want to bring yellow into your white. A fair bit of paint on because it's nice and thick right now. And then tap in here. Wipe it off. Tap in there on the proper angle. So you see that one? Oh, that one turned out really good. So I'm using actually quite a lot of paint. And there's one there. Can't see it. Maybe we'll start out the other one with these. Yes. All right. So back to where should we place that little circle for the center? So we're going to flip this over so I can see it. So there is, I'm still going to have to adjust that because it's not looking right, but I'm going to put it right here. It's not a full circle. And then I'm going to make those lines just kind of like a clock. So we'll figure out where the segments are going to be. Oh, that's going to be too big. So you can see that my piece has to come down this way a bit more. It's going to be a little bigger. Doesn't have to be perfect because you know we're going to mess this up, right? So you can draw your lines on this way, like this if you want, just using the tip and draw it, or you can just place it on there. Up to you. Kind of like that. All right, I'm gonna do some more yellow. I'm using this yellow, but straight. Oops. Don't want this all over my mom's floor. So I want this to come around a little bit. So I'm going to kind of want to draw it this way. So it looks a little round and less cylinder shaped. So I'll bring it around because it was coming down. It all starts to come together once you start playing around with your color. That looks a little better. That looks a little better. We just use our mystery, like it went down behind here. Does that look great? Maybe once we get the little segments on, it'll look a little better. All right, I'm going to start putting them in, just sort of pushing that on. Don't have any at the bottom of your thing. This is what happens when you have too much at the bottom of here. Then it goes up into where you don't want it to go. I hope you guys have enjoyed your summer because it's over. It's looking over now. Oh, this is great. Sometimes you have to take your paint and you gotta make your pile just a little bigger so that you can get it out. If you don't have enough if you don't have a big enough pile of paint, it's hard to grab a glob of paint. And that's what we want, globs of paint. I'm going to clean this brush off because I don't like that little piece of mistake that I made there. I'm going to scrape that off because it's not supposed to be yellow. It's supposed to be white. I'm going to make it white now. There. Okay. And while I'm doing this, I'm figuring out what I'm going to do with this lemon over here. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. There. I just changed the shape of that segment because it wasn't working for me. Not a big deal. You change them by figuring out where your streaks are going down. That changes with the way the segments go. Okay. It just doesn't matter how you get the paint on there. Like I can take and go sideways with it. It's just a matter of how do you scratch those segment pulpy pieces. And as long as you're scratching those pulpy pieces on the right angle, it all works. It's great. So I got some straight dark ones. We can add lighter stuff later. Guys, I'm more than excited. There's another term for this. It's called impasto, not impasto. I think that's the word for it, where you use thick paint like this. I didn't go to art school, but I have artsy friends. I have artsy friends, so they tell me these words. I'm like, what? For whatever reason, that stuck with me because I like to do a lot of thick, messy paintings. Use my yellow. So, impasto. Word is impasto. Whoa. Flip. Oops, got some over there. Not a biggie. So now you can just check your directions, mess these things up. I think they need to be longer down here, so I'm going to be changing the shape of my white. By dragging these down farther, so it changes the whole shape of my lemon. And then I'll just go over it again with some more white. And meet up that way. And maybe these need a little more dark. See how you can just like blob some in and change the whole color of it all. Like it. All right, so wiping off my yellow. And I'm going to start going back into the white again. This is why we don't mess our white up, because we always can use it again. So here we go. I'm just going to go over this edge. And I'm going to go down, change the shape of my lemon. Ooh, maybe I should try to make it pointy down there. So as I'm doing this, I'm making it very messy, and I love it. I like it. Okay, now for this guy. What do we do? We need to give him some shadows. I'm going to experiment with some red and see if that changes the color of my orange a little bit. You do have to do some darker stuff under there too. So I'm going to take the darker, a little bit of red, just a little teeny bit of red, and mix it in with the darker stuff. So it's actually kind of orangey. Try to avoid getting any white in this mixture because that changes the color again. So I gotta take a little more of this. Oh, it's gonna be a lot of paint. Okay, there's that. So back a little bit more red. So if you got this yellow and white mixture here and you're gonna add some red to that, you're gonna get a weird color. It's sort of a, I don't know, tomato soup with milk, you know, with that kind of a color. So down under here, there's going to be kind of a shading. First of all, got to figure out where all the shadows might form. So I'm just using the tip again, so I wash everything off there. You're going to have some shading underneath here, but I don't have too much because I don't want this to look like an orange. So just a little bit there. And on the bottom side of this lemon, and we can fix the shape because right now it doesn't look quite right. So it goes right up there. I'm fixing the shape as I go. And then it's going to pop out underneath here. Should be rounder. So it might be even bigger. I'm just going to mix that up in with that yellow. And I'm avoiding that one so that I can still see the yellow of that one. So the bottom side of it is a little bit darker. I want to touch, oh my gosh, this is all in my hair now. Yeah, it's a messy one. So bring this down to this one. Maybe it crosses in front just a bit. More paint, more paint. I've got like lots now. Because I really, really want to change the shape of this lemon. Starting to look a little more lemon shapey. Okay, wipe all that off. I'm not doing any more dark. No more dark. New paper towel. All right, now I'm going to take some lighter yellow. Well, this lighter yellow. Let's take a whole bunch of it, whole bunch, and go up along the top of, so you can sort of carve it out if you want to keep it smooth. And let it come back over top of your darkness. Any old shape you want. I'm smoothing it out a bit. And I'm kind of like pushing the back end of it just to get that smooth shape without digging the front end in too much. It seems to me it does need to be a little bit more pointy on both ends, right? Oops, put my finger in there. Careful where you put your other fingers. Now I'm just gonna, like, I'm seriously on purpose messing it up so it's not so straight, letting some go over the edge. Excellent. You see how I messed that up on purpose? So I have some yellow on my, left on my thing, and I just like even left it like really lightly touching it, and I'm messing it up on purpose. I mean, you can throw some yellows up in here, in the grays. Just clean your brush off if you want. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that anyway. So there's that. Now I'm going to take some of this yellow. I'm going to take some white. I'm going to throw it in that yellow and make a really light yellow. Messing it up. I'm going to even throw some more light on this top edge. So it looks like it has a little bit of a highlight. From a distance, that's going to look great. Right now in front of me, I'm thinking, oh, it's so weird. It's just so weird. Wipe this off. Straight yellow. You don't like too much white. Go back and throw some straight yellow on it. Make it thick. Just keep changing the color by putting it up on top. I'm not worrying too much about it. This is going to get weird, you guys. Okay, I do have, I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to make a little bit of gray with the tip of this. Doesn't matter if some yellow got into it. A little darker than your background. It's right here where it's sitting. I'm just going to scrape in some darkness. I mean, we can use a brush if you want. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Got an angle brush. Take your grayness. Take your grayness. Just right underneath where this is on an angle. It's a little darker than your background is. And this one's sitting here, but it's raised off, so don't touch the whole thing. Then it'll look like it comes off the bottom. Don't worry too much about it because I'm going to do something else. And in here, got some darkness in here. And then a little bit of darkness where this touches the ground. So because that comes up and around, let's make the shadow go off that way. And then it'll look like along, see this point here? That's where that is. And this is just resting wild like that. So there's nothing too smooth at the bottom of that, nothing too smooth here. Okay, that's it for that. Now, you're going to take some white, whatever you got left on your plate, white, and you're just going to, we're going to mess up this background completely. We could do it with a brush if we wanted to. Go right to the edge of that lemon. Going over that black a little bit. You did not have to do this if you didn't want to. You could have left it gray. But I'm going right to the edge where that lemon is. I'm going to move it all into there. Just to make it super red. And have some, I want this to be more of a yellow white away from here because it's already white, so a little bit of a yellow white going to the edge of this one. I'm just cutting in with the side of my, with the side. Get right up to it. Sometimes some of the paintings that you see that have all these different colors and stuff in them is from people going, I didn't like the shape of that, so they kind of smear it out and then they cross over it again. So that's kind of the effect that I'm doing here. But you don't have to. If you like it gray, just leave it gray. You work on one little section at a time. I go all over my painting because I'm going fast and I'm not really worrying too much about it because it's just going to be paint everywhere. This is where you're going to go through a lot of paint if you're doing this one. Avoid that red. I'm almost out of white, so now I'm going to start using some of that yellow stuff. Gray. Now I've just got a little bit of white left over and some black, and I'm just going to like mix it right up on my plate. Just throw back in some gray, different directions. Be afraid to get messy. It's charming. I have no idea what this looks like from your end, but I'm quite liking it from mine. Mixing some yellow with the black here, because down here we got some shadow. Remember the shadows that we had before? So I'm taking that white yellow mixture, a little bit of black so it's dark, and I'm creating those shadows again. Maybe that's just too weird for you guys. You could have stopped at the gray. But I'm liking it. I do like it. I hope that this glare, it's probably not the best place to do the painting. See how weird and messy that is? I don't know what it looks like from far away without the glare. I sure like it. I sure like it. I'm going to take some of that black and yellow, whatever I got left over here. See if I can't get enough to try touching my segments up. Doesn't have to be in all the segments, but I'm doing some anyway. Jeepers, I like. Cutting the edges on this a little. Oh, so weird, so weird, so weird. I'm going to grab some more white because I'm going to add more white to the background. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so if you don't like that and you want to have it a little bit lighter, let's clean some of this off my brush. Off my palette knife. So straight white, look at that. You can just lightly, I'm going to bring that closer so you can see. So I've got a whole lot of paint on there, whole lot. So turn it the right angle so you guys can see. It's quite the glob on there. So I go over a section, say here, just touching it lightly. Just sort of dragging it, and it leaves those marks. Careful where you touch. But it's leaving those marks all over nice and thick. This is definitely a messy painting. And cover up some of the yellowness that you maybe don't like. It's a really pretty painting in life, in true life. change. Turn it around. Turn it around a little. There we go. So in hindsight, if you wanted to, guys, you could not even paint your background gray. You could just go right on in and chalk in where you want your lemons to be. Or orange or pink grapefruit. You're just going to have to get your coordinating colors for that. Let's see. Flip that over again. Flick it over again. You could just keep going over and over and over it with paint until you're kind of happy with the shape. Bring that one out a little bit more. And once you're happy, with your lemon, I just keep changing the color. And I don't care that it's going weird and off the sides. I don't like it so structured. Just me. See how mine just kind of blurs off there? It's blurred off. It's not even... I got paint on my legs. Same with here. Just take your peel and mess that peel up a little bit. To me, it just looks better. Messier, the better. But I'm a weirdo. I am weird. Some more yellow into that. Oh, I love it. Oh, no, it's just too structured up here as well. Messing it up. Don't know if I like the black in there. I'm taking it out. It's so thick I could just scrape it out. Look at that. Right? Bury it. Straight white. A little straight white on my lemon. Maybe a little more white in these ones up on this edge. At the top has maybe just a little more white because there's some light on it. I don't know. Yay! And you know what? Because this is so thick, why sign it when you can scrape your name into it? Or maybe I can't. I could do it with black though. Cool. I think we need a brush. Sorry, just gonna need a brush. I tried. You can barely tell though because it's so thick. Nice. Okay, that is the end of my lemon painting. Impasto, crazy, crazy, thick paint. And I absolutely love how messy and how you can scrape out all your little segments and pulp and stuff. Careful with this. Don't drop it. Don't wipe it on your clothes. And I'll see you next month for What's New. Bye, guys.